Well, Prime Minister Carney agreed to export oil to China, which is a good thing. We want China to be dependent on Western oil. And he also agreed to take 49,000 EVs from China at a preferential rate of 6% instead of 100%. And that is not so safe, because if we don't like spy drones flying above our country, we definitely don't want spy EVs or electric vehicles with the capability of spying moving around our streets. Besides, this displaces Chinese automakers and it displaces Canadian automakers. And Canadian automakers are not pleased to have these Chinese vehicles undercutting their homemade cars. So that's the situation. Yes to the oil exports. It should be no to the vehicle imports.
And I think some might say that it's hard to have your cake and eat it too. So was there a middle path that Carney potentially could have navigated to be able to get the exports of the oil, I believe, through a pipeline that then leaves Vancouver and then goes over to China? But what leverage might Carney have had to have then been able to protect his auto industry?
China needs all the energy it can get. It's making the renewables that it's exporting all over the world. It's making these EVs. BYD, the main Chinese auto company, exported over 1 million vehicles. So China needs the energy. China needs Canadian oil. There was no reason for Prime Minister Carney to have to accept these Chinese exports of vehicles in return to the oil. He could have gone to President Xi and said, I'm going to sell you all the oil you want, without having to give in on the vehicles.
And Trump at Davos was connecting economic and national security together. You're bringing up both points as it relates to the risks of bringing these EVs into Canada, both potentially hollowing out their own capacity to economically and sustainably continue to build cars once they get these cheap cars. And then you mentioned that there's this spying capability. How are Canadians reacting to this?
I think Canadians are more concerned about their jobs going away than about the spying capability. Because the spying capability is more out in the future. Losing your job is right now. People want more money in their pockets. If their jobs go away, they don't have that money to be able to support their families. But in terms of all the discussions at Davos about net zero, about European countries slowing their economies by focusing on Chinese renewables, importing the EVs, importing the wind turbines, importing the solar panels, slowing their economy because this is more expensive. And in the meantime, coming to President Trump and saying, we want you to help us defend against Russia. We want help from you. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to President Trump.
Yeah, that was one of Trump's zingers right at Davos, where he mentioned they're happy to sell those solar or these wind turbines for energy generation, but they don't actually use them themselves. What's happening there as it relates to energy policy?
So I think China has put in place solar and wind, but as a share of total electricity generated and a share of total energy generated by these renewables, it's very small. They are getting most of their power out of their coal-fired power plants. They're building 2 a week. They have a lot of coal. They're using it. It doesn't make any sense for the West to say that we are reducing emissions, shipping our energy-intensive manufacturing off to China, where it's made in a dirtier way, and then patting ourselves on the back, saying we're moving towards net zero. It makes no sense. It strengthens China. It weakens Europe. And thank goodness that President Trump is moving away from renewables to using our own oil and natural gas right here under our feet in the United States.
You explain it so eloquently why China is lobbying for these net zero policies, because their cars are actually a Trojan horse that they can subsidize. Appreciate you breaking it down. Diana Furchtgott-Roth, so great to see you. Thank you.
Great to be with you.